Hello everybody, welcome back after quite a bit of a break. The Seercast is back. I am ePiKnight, and with me today is Ballor.
When you play the game of elves, you win or you die.
Siroki. Orange.
Hello.
Lime.
I am finally done training divination.
Geena.
Now a master elf pickpocketer.
Grats on 99 Elva Thieveneering. Woo! Fang?
Why is the Elvet Marketplace so sad? It's full of crystals!
Oh no.
Kitten?
Hello.
And we have Walter and Habblet in the chat. See, this is what you guys have missed for the last month. Our horrible puns during our intros and various other things.
And grinding.
Yeah. Well, not so much that.
So much grinding.
But yeah, so it's been a while since we've done a podcast, and we're going to be covering today, basically, briefly touch on everything that happened in December, look at the year ahead, as well as specifically at the January BTS, as well as a couple other things that happened during the month, which we'll get to in a bit. So, first things first, the Christmas event is a thing, and seemed to take up all of December, including all of the development time in December, so there wasn't much of anything else, which is disappointing.
Can we just say that most of us just started the Christmas event today?
This is true. Geena, Lime, and I have all basically started it today.
And to be honest, we're getting close to finishing.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I started in the first 2 weeks, ignored it, and finished at the last second.
Yeah, well, that's how we usually do all of these events, isn't it?
But yeah, this is probably one of the most extensive, holiday events in a while. They took a decent bit of time on this. And
Yeah.
Yeah, there was
it turned out pretty well.
Except that it was largely ignored.
Yeah, well, yeah.
By us, anyway.
The first part was the cracker pull. It caused lots of rage because you had to be logged on at a certain specific time in a very small time frame. And
that no one could predict in advance.
Yeah, that nobody could predict in advance. I was lucky to be there for the first poll, but...
Oh, I actually did make it for one of the polls.
I never managed to make it to a poll.
I think... Was Geena at the one I was at?
No.
I don't think so.
It was a few down the line, for sure.
I was at the first one. Fang and Walter spammed the
you
chat.
You told me the first poll was happening.
Okay.
We got excited about it, so we went and did it and pulled some other people there.
Yeah.
So, I think people didn't realize that the cracker event isn't as, super rewarding as everybody thought it was, so a lot of rage started happening.
Oh,
literally, all
happens.
you get from pulling the cracker is a medium XP lamp and a really bad joke.
A really, really bad joke.
Really good joke.
And then,
Urge, please.
You additionally get that 50 festive cheer, but if you don't have all your cheer by now, I don't know what you've been doing.
I don't.
I don't know what you've been doing. And then there's also that cracker pull emote, but literally, if you've turned in a festive paper, you get the emote at the end of the event anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite honestly, I just picture the stupid joke thing as just being a sheet of paper with something written on it in crayon. Just
basically.
It's it's so bad.
Well, the funniest part about it is when you click on it.
Real joke.
When you click on it, your character reads it to yourself and laughs at it.
Yeah.
That's how bad they are.
Yep.
Your character reads them to themselves and thinks it's hilarious.
Yeah, the chat head position changes.
It's just
The question at the
answer. Talking to talk.
Pretty much.
Yep, they're so bad that they're good.
That's
the
debatable.
joke with them.
But yeah, so there's that. That cracker pull is a thing. They also had the present deliveries section, or present deliveries part, where you deliver a present to an inhabitant of Gielinor. Doing so awards 25 festive cheer and a festive paper. They're all over free to play, as well as a couple in members, including Virago, and Max, because Chris L was on the Christmas team.
You know what's also funny about that is that the Cracker Pull, you use the same animation as when you're doing the telekinetic attack on Virago to pull it.
Okay.
Whatever works.
Actually, throughout this entire event, I've never done the boss monster.
I haven't either.
I've gotten rewards for
like
it 3 times because I was in the crater when it ended, but yeah.
Yeah, also there was the tinsel snakes, which apparently there's rage about.
I've also never done them.
I have not touched that, and I don't
well, the original thing was that, before they fixed it, there was a limited number that would spawn, and I think you could take as many as you wanted, or you could snipe them from people. Yeah, you could have up to 10, but you could steal them from people at the tree. So then a lot of people were losing a lot of the snakes, and now they made it so it wasn't yours, but still you can only have 10, and then it would be over. But yeah,
it's better now. I've heard that
the
original iteration released wasn't very good.
Yeah, it's a lot better. I think there's still a limit to the spawn number, so I don't know if the timing's weird. You're guaranteed to not have enough, or something happened with it where it was still a little bit janky. But
there's still Walter Rage chat. There isn't not enough for 50 people.
Yeah.
So there's not going to be
there's also further rage that was caused by this, because if you manage to turn in 10 snakes at once, you get Sparkles, the tinsel snapcake pet from like 2012.
Yep.
And of course people whined about it because they're reusing old event rewards.
But don't they do that with pretty much all of the holiday rewards?
Usually just
no, because I mean, for example, you can't get the witch's outfit or the warlock's outfit from 2008 or the DEFCON shirt. You can't get those. So basically,
usually
people
it's
thought
the emotes repeating.
I'm thinking of emotes and
so it's always been the emotes. So people were claiming that it was very much unfair that old rewards were being given out as well.
Whatever.
I can't wait for the party hats next year, guys.
Yay!
Pea hats.
No, just party hats. Crash the market.
Wasn't technically the Christmas one the main reward from that event?
What do you mean?
The one where Sparkles was in, wasn't the main reward supposed to be the Christmas wand? Because it was at the Wizard's Tower.
Yeah, Sparkles was actually the members' reward from that event.
I don't remember which one was which. There've been too many.
From the Christmas, the Wizard's Feast one thing.
A Towering Feast, I think it was called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the Chaotic Cookery was the emote from that one.
Yeah, that one.
But yeah, so Tinsel Snakes, I'll quickly read from the thread. Walter says, Christmas, the time when people all around the world put aside their differences and come together in harmony. Apparently Jagex wanted to change that and decided that instead, every 3 hours players should come together to ruthlessly steal from each other.
Oh.
Thinly veiled rage.
Jagex decided to look up Christmas on Wikipedia and discovered it was supposed to be a time to come together, so they removed the thieving mechanic and created yet another thing the community could come together to rage about.
It must have been Raven involved. Raven had to have been involved in that. Anyways, moving on. There's also the boss, the Snoverload, which somebody else can talk about. Maybe.
Sure.
So I guess
anybody done it?
No, I did too.
Yeah, I did.
Alright, you guys talk about it. I'm gonna go bring my stuff to the kitchen.
It's, basically it's just this boss that spawns, and then a bunch of people crowd around it, and there's a couple different weird mechanics that are like you can jump into a present to avoid an attack. It does actually damage you. That doesn't do anything. Yeah, the boss will actually damage you, which is kind of scary, but it's not that bad. And
I hear people spam Ice Asylum.
Yeah, that's basically it. But, you can get turned into a Christmas ornament, and really the only trick is to roll away, because having him actually slap you out of the ornament doesn't work. There's a couple things that you can get turned into a snowman, and then someone else gets turned into like a fire elemental, and you have to bump into them to be unfrozen. You can get a stocking over your head, which just looks ridiculous, so you run in a circle to get rid of it. You really just run around and it goes away. And then he spams a couple different attacks. There's some where he's like invulnerable, and then eventually once you damage him enough and pull enough snow off of him, you have to lead him over to Santa, which people really suck at doing, and when he spawns in Falador, your brain just explodes.
Where can they spawn? Is it anywhere free to play? Within reason?
Well, yeah, there's north of Falador, which is a
There's
pain in
Grand
the butt.
Exchange.
Yeah, there's one that I think is just right outside the crater.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just had that one.
There's one near Clan Camp, I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong about that.
South of Falador.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Isn't there one near Draenor as well?
Is there?
Probably.
Well, yeah, that's the one that's north of the crater, because it's right by the field, whatever. But yeah, then you have to lead him to Santa, and then Santa is like, no, and you shall not pass, you can't get the crack or whatever, and slaps him with a
Apparently
magical
he
thing
did,
does.
apparently he did the World Wakes because he uses the Sunshine ability and kills it.
I can't, I'm moving upstairs. Sorry, interrupted. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah,
Okay.
so then I think all you get is just a bunch of the old Christmas food, and you can deliver another present, you get some cheer, and the
You get two pieces of paper.
Get 2 festive papers and the ability to deliver another present, so you get up to 4 papers a day.
So what?
And then a bunch of useless food.
So what Walter says in translation: the first overload of the kill of the day is worth 3 medium lamps and 25 Christmas cheer.
Which, of course, cheer is almost irrelevant for most people now.
Yeah, because snowboarding
Basically.
is a thing. Okay, speaking of which, snowboarding is a thing.
It is the best agility experience ever, but it's not that much of an experience otherwise.
Yeah.
Go on, Lime.
Yeah.
Well, I just discovered it about
20 minutes
right
ago?
about when we started the cast, but basically what you do is you slide down a ramp, at a speed.
At a speed.
at a speed. And, you click the
Speed
presence.
equals.
Speed
I
equals
have
fast.
36.
You're not going that fast, and that is according to my vast physics knowledge.
It is Lime physics.
So, what you do is, at the beginning, you use Christmas power that you get from clicking presents that you click while you're going down the ramp in order to do tricks, and that gives you a ton of agility experience when you hit the ground, and for me, inevitably splat.
Splat.
On a side note.
Go
ahead.
So, I'm not that coordinated, so that's why I go splat. Or it could be that this physics equation does not work.
It probably is the latter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In any case, I wouldn't say it's the most enthralling experience, but it does give you a good amount of experience, good amount of agility.
And cheer.
And
It's also better than it was originally going to be. So.
And it's interesting because it allows people who join the event really late to get all of the rewards basically really early.
Hi!
It's a really fast way to get the rewards, but it looks like congratulations, you can make QTEs, but it looks like you did it in Game Maker.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, I get that it's a actually different, a different take on the event, but I don't know, I didn't really like it. I liked how fast it was.
Yeah.
These do show that they're able to make really good mechanics. It's just that players don't like good mechanics, apparently.
Have you seen Legacy?
That's what I'm...
Have you seen Old School?
That's what I'm...
This is a fact.
Yeah, this snowboarding thing, it turned out better than it was originally going to be. There wasn't going to be a ramp or anything, you were just going to be able to snowboard around the icy crater. For fun. Literally, when they were doing the dev blogs about it, they said, if we have the time, we're going to be making this thing where you can kind of ski or snowboard around the crater. Everybody's like, okay.
Seriously?
And
then
the event comes out and they're like, giant ramp, find some ice elementals, and yeah! So it turned out a lot better.
So, wait, you're telling me that it was just going to be the rail, and that's it? Originally?
No, you were just gonna just freely, you know how you just wear it and you can skate around? That was pretty much what you were originally gonna do.
It would be the way that we wanted agility to be. You just run, and then you get XP.
Yeah.
But so now it's much cooler. I don't even think there was going to be XP.
Oh.
But
who even knows?
It's awesome now.
Yeah.
apparently Ballor hates the snowboarding because of probably the cheer factor. I don't know. I think he's turned off.
Fun.
I think he's turned off his mic, so that means we can make fun of him all we want.
Ballor hates fun.
Ballor hates fun, confirmed. But yeah,
No,
it does.
RNG in a shitty design.
It does.
Fired.
It does
Sorry,
rapidly reward
Isaac.
festive cheer.
The salt truck just
DJ Salt.
all over the crater.
Okay, so you're given an option to put all 4 tricks in there for 100% of whatever the thing is. And yet, you're not going to get 100%, 95% of the time, because of the bullshit RNG.
Once you have the last
You've got
reward,
to
you can get 100% about 90% of the time.
Yeah, I seem to have a pretty good rate for it, even if I'm not trying.
Yeah,
Then again, I'm playing Vending, okay? If I had a problem with RNG, I think I'd be somewhere else.
Yeah. But yeah, so it does, it takes a couple hours to get 500, which is rather quick, all things considered, considering how much time it would have taken otherwise. Which is good for those of us who are lazy and or were not around for the first month of the event.
The reason
And or totally ignorant for whatever reasons.
The reason I was not partaking in this event is because I was abandoned on Dragontooth Isle for like the past 3 weeks.
Right.
90 div.
Now you know how I felt when I spammed to 99. But yeah, anyways, you're late, Lime. But yeah, so the cosmetic rewards, there's a full snowman outfit, there's a snowstormer cape effect override thing, and there's also an ice sickle for 2-handed melee weapons. Yay.
But yeah, like, this entire event, it shows that Jagex has the ability to make really good mechanics if players want it.
And then
really good being
polls happen.
RNG, right?
Like, a bunch of these mechanics are really cool. It's just that if they were made more seriously and, like, invested more and not on a holiday budget, they could be amazing for stuff like bosses, quests, stuff like that. Even in, like, they practically made a new agility course right here.
Yep. Alright, well, that pretty much covers everything we wanted to do for the Christmas event. Moving on, we've got the Dominion Tower. New bosses were added to the Dominion Tower. Finally, 3 years too late. You got Diamond in the Rough bosses. Vanstrom finally got added. Char. Don't know how Char works.
I haven't actually done any of the
how
new
does
bosses.
Char
That's
work?
really.
From vines and then
I don't think she works the same way she works in the quest.
In Dominion, as an individual boss, you still have to light the fires on the ground in order to do more damage to her. They give you the can in the thing. Mm-hmm. In Rumble mode, she just is a giant ass thing that you have to hit.
No, you just spam attack her. Okay, so it sounds like solo. It's more of the traditional version.
Yeah,
except Walter says she's stripped down.
That appear.
Okay. You also get Khazard and Lucian from the Ritual, which, by the way, happy Ritual Day.
Yeah, it's Ritual Day.
Happy Ritual Day.
Which is January 4th for reasons unknown. Actually, we did it. The reasons are irrelevant at this point.
But they've been lost to somewhere.
Yeah, to the whatever the age. Zemergal and Nanakra got added. Cabbage, Dragon Hunters, Echo of Jask, Chaos Grimson, and Hraidmar, aka Jeff. You got Lol the Troll, Nail Swiftling. I think that's everything. They also changed Dreadnip so you can use different attack styles with them, which is nice. They improved Dominion markers and made them more Slayer friendly, so they're actually usable now. Yay.
Well, a bunch of the Dominion Tower bosses got a bunch harder because they were combined.
Yeah.
So, Khazard and Lucian, they were both at the same time. And, while Khazard is a noob, Lucian is not a noob. So, I think it cancels out.
Well, I think Lucian is he just like a on the stage do damage? Like we never actually fought him in the quest.
Yeah,
we fought him in.
Yeah, they're fighting with Wahi. And then he summons his demons and all that.
We basically spent half two
random things for us to kill.
I don't know.
Occasionally he shoots at you with shadow stuff, which is impressive back in the day.
So you're telling me Lucian can into Shadow Realm better than Geena?
Yes.
Yeah.
Khazard can into Shadow Realm better than Geena. Just think about that.
He can into Shadow Realm better than a lot of people.
That is not important. Geena is one of those a lot of people. Anyways, Rumble mode is also introduced. Walter says in the thread, a new mode that I blame Fang for, that allows up to 5 players to work together to take out quest monsters together. The number of bosses that'll appear at any one time depends on the number of players. 1 player versus 4 bosses, 2 players versus 7, 3 versus 9, etc. It does mean that the scaling favors more players because each player has less to kill individually, which means that solo is rather difficult, to say the least.
And once again, people haven't realized that group content means group content.
Well, you know.
There's nothing wrong with group content.
No, there isn't. Except for the group aspect of group content, because why would you do things with other people? I mean,
gosh. Why would you play an MMO and want to do things with other people?
Please. Don't be ridiculous.
Who do you think you are?
What's the thing? I didn't come here to make friends.
Yeah, pretty much.
I came here to get good.
To get good. To be MLG
If you want to
Pro.
get good, play Dark Souls.
No.
Anyways. There are changes to most of the bosses in Rumble. Most bosses that spawn additional things will not be able to do so, except for Echo of Jazz, because Jazz.
So we can kill Saraderp and Zamorak and Lucian again and again and again.
Yep. Bosses that spawn as a team instead spawn individually. Bosses with difficult moves that are hard to dodge or deal with in multiplayer have been removed, like Crimson's Charge, Char's Firewalls, Vantrum's Smoke Form, and so forth. Bosses that require special weapons or spells to kill will die in normal combat. Normal combat. Dagannoth Mother is not that way though.
Yeah, you just gotta shout at them. Use your Thum.
Mm-hmm.
They die in northern combat.
Yes.
There are some random events that take place. You have evil chickens, Char's Firewall, wizards appear, tornadoes show up, and then Sunfree lights the entire arena on fire. Because why not? Power-ups and power-downs are available to grab, and you have a title for surviving in a group of 4 or 5 for 45 minutes or more. You get 1,800 Rumble boss mode kills, unlock the Extreme Dominion Medallion. Does that do anything useful? It has a good niche use. Is there anything anything else I should say about Dominion Tower?
I don't think so, because, I mean, the new rewards, there's, no. No.
Well, there was a glitch where you could kill Lucian in the Khazard Lucian fight. I don't know if it's still there.
Yeah. I think they fixed that.
So that was funny.
Walter says, my rage doesn't have to be said. But Walter is referring to is that if you've done more quests, the Rumble mode is more difficult because you get more difficult bosses.
Yeah.
And that's just a thing. And it's the same with the normal Dominion Tower, nothing's changed.
Quest Legacy mode, please.
No. No
We've
Legacy
already
mode.
been through that, Lime.
Seriously, no.
Anyways,
Lime, you remember that bug with Venescula when you were replaying branches?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and Walter says that 500 solo rumble kills was so much fun.
For context, the bug in the branches of Darkmire quest was that I could damage Venescula with anything except for the Rod of Revandus.
So the one thing laughing my ass off at it.
The one thing that would have damaged her could not damage her.
Well done. I think that's like an anti-cake face.
He was attacking her with crossbows for crying out loud, so Kurodel was right.
God damn it, Kurodel.
Yes! Kurodel really was right.
God damn it, Kurodel.
Can't believe we doubted her.
It's if you get either Delrith or Yelps, you're both in luck and out of luck. If they aren't hit, they can only use their crappy attacks. If you hit them, they will spam their specs, and nothing but their specs. So, yeah. Walter says he strongly advises never hitting Yelps. Because, like, the method that he is advocating, if you want to do it solo, is to try and keep 2 or 3 weak bosses around at all times, so that you don't have to, worry about getting mauled by multiple big bosses. So you don't kill the weak ones, you only kill the big ones, which would make it terrible. Yeah. Anyways, that is the source of Walter Rage.
So let's move on to the Tier 1 task set.
I agree. Next up is Elf
something
tasks.
I'm super excited about.
Yeah, me too.
54 brand new tasks for me to enjoy. The notable tasks include the Harrowed Lands task must be done on the Plague's End part of Poison Waste, which is super awkward because it's a medium task. It's a medium task, and it's not supposed to require any of the quests. So hopefully they'll fix that soon.
Yeah, because apparently the Fairy Ring Island is not in the wastes.
Fun fact: I tried it on the Fairy Ring Island because I figured, that was also a medium task in there, and it wouldn't, they wouldn't require a Grandmaster quest to do a medium. Nope.
Well, to be fair,
Plague's End.
You have to have pretty high requirements just to get to the Elflands.
That's true.
Requirements that are basically equivalent of a hard task, so...
Yeah.
A hard task everywhere else.
The best part about the task set was going to Lieta to do the pass over the mountains from the Path of Gluffrey.
Yeah.
And finding out that the graphics, when they graphically updated the town, that the rope, that you now go through the cliff when you climb up the rope.
Yes.
Nice.
That made me laugh so hard.
Yeah.
Well done. Walter wants it to be known that the task that has you dancing with Implings is clearly the best task. Because Walter.
Additionally, the task where you have to get to wave 15 in a gold or platinum rush of blood is only a reward run, and it's not supposed to be, and they haven't fixed it yet. But luckily, you can quit a reward run at any time, and, if you don't, and you fail it, you have to wait an entire week to try it.
I can only imagine the rage that happened on the forums with that one.
Oh, people are still pissed about it. I'm pissed about it.
Literally 7 times worse than growing a mushroom for that one task during Mauritania.
Yeah. What is nice though is there's one task that requires you to make a tuned crystal chakram, and your first elf kill after the update will give you an attuned crystal seed. So,
yep.
So as long as you don't miss your seed, they were kind enough to give everybody one.
Yeah. Yeah. So make sure you pick it up, or else you have to hunt for something that's rarer than a champion scroll still.
Additionally, the quiver reward. This thing's really fantastic for melee and magic.
Basically
but entirely
everything.
Useless for range.
But ranged.
Unless you're using a crystal bow.
Unless you're using something with...
unless you're using a crystal Zerite bow, an attuned crystal bow, or a charged bow. Or throwing rifles.
Because everybody likes using charge bows.
Anything that doesn't require an arrow.
Or additionally something like Death Lotus starts, which is nice, because that's actually what you use.
Yep.
But yeah, so apparently they're going to try and fix that too. I don't know how that ever got past QA. But it did.
Because QA. But yeah, the rewards are nice. That you have teleports, you have the finally you get 100% success rates on leaf traps.
Yeah, you don't even have to click them. You can just keep running and your character will do it automatically and keep moving.
Although, knowing how leaf traps are, we'll still find ways to fail them.
Yep.
Leaf traps.
Let's see, there's a 5%
means
chance
I can't lead people into them as a joke anymore.
Oh jeez.
Yeah. It acts as a chime in the Poison Waste dungeon for the torts or the terror birds, and nobody does terror birds. Torts are nice. 5% of the tortoise shells being noted. It's really low though. And a 5% damage boost against mourners, because people fight mourners.
Yeah.
Yeah, people need more damage against them? Question mark.
Yeah.
For that one part in Morning's End Part 1 where you need to get the...
Where you get wrecked by a Nubify potion?
Yeah. And then at all times, even when you're not wearing it, you can sell an elf limestone at the limestone rocks for 50% of GE price. It's basically like what they did with the desert tasks for the sandstone, but with limestone. And you can also get 15 free swamp tar a day at the Vethia General Store, and a 10k XP lamp.
That tar being a thing required for the medium task.
Yes, so don't just
Yeah.
take it. Well, what's interesting is you actually don't need that specific tar, you just have to have taken it from the shop once, and then you can buy all your own tar.
Yeah.
Lucky
So
for
there's
all
that.
of us who actually think that a fairy ring in the poison waste is in the poison waste.
In the Poison Waste, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, then the medium task set is slightly better. You have access to a new mushroom patch. Doesn't get the Mauritania task set benefits, which kind of sucks. You get
Still nice.
30 swamp tar a day. OP nerve, please, Walter. You want? 5% chance not using a charge on crystal bow and wards because
the
level
shields.
70 gear.
I'm actually kind of confused why it's only the bow and the wards when they released a whole host of crystal weapons before this came out, and it only applies to those two. But anyway.
Technically it's a quiver, so it would only really deal with ranged weapons.
Yep.
But then it works with the shields.
Yeah.
Logic.
So,
Logic.
I place an arrow on my shield. No.
I got him. But
then
yeah.
the really good one is the ability to catch Grenwalls without baiting the traps. And Walter does say, because Grenwall spikes weren't already crashing, but they've actually stabilized since they've done this. So, I don't really know what's going on anymore with the market.
And this has been your Grand Exchange Market Watch.
Where is that graphic?
We need to use that graphic somehow.
Where is that graphic? I never got it. If it got
I
made.
dressed up in a suit for that graphic.
I haven't
I
got.
still haven't done it. That's why it doesn't exist, because I've been busy.
Well, you have been busy.
But yeah, I've been hunting
Right,
like crazy since they did that, because I need all 90s for one of the elite tasks, which I'll get to in a minute.
All you guys
And,
and he's not had.
Geena,
Yeah.
please. I'm
But
only
then,
2 levels off.
It's been surprisingly good money. I really did not expect it to be, and it is.
Speaking of good money, the Quiver 3, it makes the corrupted Sarenstone easier to cleanse, so you can waste money even faster.
Yay!
Yes! It also gives a 5% damage boost against freaking elves.
Elves.
And it gives you teleports to the Death Altar and Elf Camp. A Death Altar teleport could be useful.
Elf camp, what do you do with that?
There is a deposit box
All the
there.
rabbits.
There is a deposit box there.
Yeah, shark fishing.
We killed
Shark
all the
fishing.
rabbits. All the rabbits die.
That also gives you 10% more shards when trading pouches with Lord Amlod, which is kind of overpowered. I don't know how to pronounce that. Some person will exchange Divination Chronicles because why?
It's literally just Ilwyn.
Oh, it is? Okay.
It's nice and simple. It's not really Welshy.
I cannot into Welsh. And Lunette has more battle staves, so that's nice. The elite quiver has the ability to take a portrait at the photo booth with the head of one of the 8 elf lords, which is
so overpowered. God.
That is an interesting reward.
That kind of advantage.
Yeah, it's like...
because, shirtless Florida mud.
That's true.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Double the blossoms harvested from the crystal acorn tree, and this is a Walter thinly veiled rage thing. So you can make 2 potions for that last 1 day each every day. Clearly this math makes sense, and this reward wasn't added just to make the elite rewards look better than they are. Okay, Walter. 5% damage boost against dark beasts. Yeah. More thinly veiled Walter rage. Yeah. It also gives you daily logs from Coden. Also, you can burn him.
Yeah, you can burn him.
That's the best part about this update. You can burn him.
Just so random.
I should go do that.
Yeah. Which actually reminds me, we should get a picture of Cakeface watching Coden burn.
Ballor, it'd be nice if you could make him burn, but you have to have 90 in all skills.
Bad face.
Mr. 60-something rune crafting.
The majority of my stats are 80+, it's just the skills I hate aren't.
But then those skills. I don't even get why you hate farming. It's literally go plant something for 3 minutes and then come back a few hours later.
Yep.
Because I've got to come back a few hours later.
Yeah, that's the hard part of farming, the few hours later.
Yeah. But regarding the elite rewards, the double the blossoms one, the double the blossoms one is actually super weird because the rewards doesn't actually give you a crystal tree seed or anything. So you have to have gotten the crystal tree seed either from like extreme luck in the city or be maxed.
Yep.
So.
I guess them down for you.
Oh hey, more Walter rage in the chat. He says the 5% damage boost against dark beasts is a thing. They're weak to ranged, and the quiver doesn't work for range, but it has to be equipped for the bonus.
Still remind you that Death Lotus darts exist in our level 85.
They do exist.
Crystal
those are what I use for it.
I'm not certain if I can even use them.
Well, you have to have ports, so no.
You could also burn him as well, although I don't know why you would want to. Walter, please. Of course we would want to. You can...
He's not it out.
The fourth...
Turn elves to peaches and burn the tree.
Elves to peaches,
to peaches. The fourth quiver also gives you a chance to not use charges on a most wanted card. It also gives you a 5% chance to not use a charge on attuned crystal bows and wards. Only those, not anything else.
Yeah.
Yep.
It also, here's a good one. It also gives 40,000 experience in the skill of your choice.
In 87
and it has
plus,
to be 87 plus.
Even though you have to be 90 plus to get the diary done.
Yep.
Additionally, this is the only task reward, or task requirement, that's going to get harder and harder for new players as the years roll on. As new skills are released.
Oh yeah, because 90 plus.
Oh yeah.
Every other task does not require, just a blanket of this blah blah blah. Maybe some of them have quests required. This is the only one that is 90 plus in everything.
Of course,
which means
by the same token, you have to think that these skills are generally getting easier to train as the years go on.
Of course.
So the time that may be spent on the other level 90 skill would be made up by reductions in time for the other skills. So, also I do want to take a quick note and think about what happens when a new skill is released. Do we lose the elite task set reward?
No, because for it, all you have to do is make the cape. You don't actually have to do anything more with it. So once you've made it, it doesn't go away. You just lose the ability to wear it until you've got all 90.
Okay, fair enough.
No. There's also another reason why, and I only remember this because they added a task to the Fremennik task set. But you could still...
but that one didn't count for the reward anyway.
Well, you were still able to wear the Fremennik boots afterwards.
But yeah,
even though...
Because the task was made as a non-reward task.
Yeah.
They have a lot of those, actually.
counts for the Taskmaster remote, but not for the rewards.
Yeah.
Correct.
Oh, I see.
Alright, well,
for this one, you'll have ticked off what was required for it anyway, just like the same way boosts can still work on some tasks and so on.
Yep. Walter mentions that in general the rewards seem quite weak for high-level players. I kind of agree.
Yeah.
When looking at the list, it's like, I don't know.
There's
there's
a few
also
really good ones, and then it's kind of like...
The Grenwalls one is amazing.
The quiver not working for ranged is actually just silly. And I hope they get that fixed soon.
The auto jump over leaf trap.
We mentioned the free 50 crystal motherlode shards, a random non-attuned half-charge crystal weapon, 10 cleansing crystals, 1,000 harmonic dust, and 100 crypt.
We just did.
And a partridge in a tree.
Really well. Okay.
No, I'm saying we just did as in you just said that.
Oh. Okay, good.
That was...
because I listen really well.
So.
Anyway.
I think that... I mean, we don't have much else to say about the elf test, do we?
No.
Wait, was it already mentioned of the boss thing?
Which boss thing?
You can do Morvran's Slayer challenge and it counts for the extended and preferred thing.
Oh, no, we didn't mention
Because
that.
everybody wants to kill a Raxor instead of doing 250 greater demons.
Yeah, but if you already have some stuff done, it's a little bit easier than having to go through it, because I didn't notice that until it's like, you completed a task. I'm like, why? But why? Oh, okay.
Oh. Like if you already accidentally did a Raxor, because people accidentally do a Raxor.
Yeah.
Be easier.
Runic just sneezes and realized he's accidentally done it.
I just fell down a cave and all of a sudden the spider's dead. I don't even know.
I don't know what happened, guys.
Sorry.
Before we go on, I'd like to call special attention to the name of one of the elf tasks. Because your eye are worth it.
Oh.
Well done, I guess.
Well done. Anyway.
Oh, and then of course there's also, can I have some more Vran? But I like because your eye are worth it better.
Anyways. Before we go into we have a couple kind of minor things to mention. Before we go on into the stuff in 2015, which we'll probably just briefly mention as well.
Yeah.
The non-human addition to the Zamorak heist team that was hinted at was confirmed as Jared.
Yeah, Jared.
Jared?
The werewolf.
The fan of a novel's rejoiced, and I wonder what that means. And could this... Spoiler.
So basically, Jared is supposed to be a smaller addition to the quest. He's a werewolf, he was in the novels, and they've said that they're gonna try and not spoil, the way the book goes, so that people who still haven't read them and are interested in reading them...
Spoiler.
Can still read them without feeling like, you've just been told the end.
But, yeah. Also, about how late was this? It was at least a year, maybe more late. They finally released the Majrat hierarchy. It
was the best Christmas present.
It was pretty much what we were expecting, though. After an age of waiting, is what Walter says. They mentioned that a few Majrat have been omitted for spoiler reasons, then specifically mentioned that Chalon Ma, saying that...
I'm gonna interrupt you before you continue there. They said that, and it's a direct quote from Fate of the Gods, so it's a reference to the quest.
Okay, fair enough.
People keep bringing this up, and I keep pointing this out, and everybody ignores me.
Okay,
but
fair enough.
That's the exact line that is said, the Shalon Ma, where are you? That's the exact line that's said then when you walk onto Fernesque with the charged engrameter in your inventory.
Oh, so is it talking about the guy who said that quote? Or the Chalon Ma?
No, it's just a reference, because it says, second, a few Majrat have been omitted for spoiler reasons, parenthesis, Shalon Ma, where are you? While others are not quite important enough. And people are going, oh, it's so important that they mentioned the Shalon Ma there. But no, it's a reference to Fate of the Gods.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
A lot of this Majrat tier hierarchy, we already know. Like, tier 1 is God Majrat, obviously you have Zamorak there. Tier 2 is Majrat on the cusp of ascendancy. You have Lucian, Slisky, and Zamorak at various times. And then you have the Arch Majorat, who are
As in the Azzy team.
Azzy and Zamorak, as well as Lucian and Karshai. Karshai was interesting here, though, because nobody really realized how powerful he was, and nobody really gave him any credit. And apparently, he's on the tier of Azanadra and Zamorak when they were the tippy top of the Majorat food chain and back in the Second Age.
Well, to be honest, Karshai did pretty much tell Anakra and Akthanakos to get lost, and that should have been an indication of his power.
But those are weak. Those two are weak. Like they're tier 5 and tier 6, respectively.
Well, they pretty much came to him begging. That's what happened.
I guess.
But yeah, clearly he, at least in the past, was somebody who was hugely powerful.
Yeah.
And his power's fallen, but he's still up there.
Yeah. And it's interesting that they put Bilrock up pretty high up there as well. He's in the feared Majorat tier, which is tier 4.
Especially because of how weak Zemorigal made him sound.
Yeah.
Clearly, that's not the case. Additionally, Moya's up there in the feared Majorat now too.
I mean, it makes sense though, from what we know about the portal stuff that happened
she ate some portals and she'd been chilling with Zamorak.
Yeah.
You don't really get any stronger than that.
Most of the Majorat we know are now feared Majorat. So
yeah. With one living Majorat still in Arch Majorat.
I love Walter says under
and one
tier
other living Majorat in the top.
I love how Walter says on tier 5, Anakra's listed, and he says, likely entirely due to her being the last female Majorat. Also, Wahacitel is sitting in tier 5 as well, so.
Which says a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not exactly.
He likes to talk himself up almost, that Majorat, he seems very important, but he doesn't have as much power.
I guess it should be
honest.
We should have seen this coming, though, by the fact that he didn't get invited to the grand Zeros' returning party.
Yeah, that was a very interesting moment. Wasn't even Akthanakos there?
Nope.
No. Camelface was not there.
Pete, you lost your letters.
I point out that Wahi on this list, if he discounts Slisky, Wahi is still the second most powerful Zerosian Majorat.
That's a good point.
There's not many left.
There aren't many Majorat left, period.
Yeah.
But there's a lot less Zerosian Majorat left.
The Zeros are really made up of Azzy.
Yeah, but their top one is
Wahi, there's Aki, and that's it.
I think there's the same number of each, though. There aren't very many Zamorakians either.
Once Zamorakian Heist comes out, the Zammies will be one higher.
They'll be decimated.
Yeah. So Slisky, Azzy, yeah, that's really funny. Wahi and Akthos, that's 4. And then there is,
and you can't really count Slisky anymore.
Yeah.
Bilrak, well,
Slisky is kind of on the fence, I think, for everybody.
Let's see, Bilrak, Zemi, Anakra, Haziel.
Haziel hardly counts, though. And then Khazard.
Yes. Once Zamorak Heist comes out and Haziel's revived for everybody, the Zammies will be leading by 2, technically, with Slisky, Karshai, and Moya not really counting it for anybody.
Yeah. Well, Moya would count more towards Zamorak than anything else.
That's true, so they'd be leading by 3.
But Khazard's more about -1.
Yeah, Khazard counts as -1.
I don't think Khazard counts for any points.
No, I don't think he does. Yeah.
So if we say that, we have to argue Akthanakos doesn't either, because he's down in tier 6 too.
Well,
you know what?
We're talking about Khazard just being
it seems like at this point is that it's less the numbers, the sheer numbers, and more the power, the average power level. Because there'll be more Zamorakians, but you have both Haziel and Khazard both sitting in the bottom tier, and then Anakra.
But then you can argue that Khazard and Haziel, to an extent, are more politically powerful than other Majorat because they both have followings and they've got a faction that is known on Gillen or somewhat feared.
I mean, Khazard controls a large portion of land.
Khazard's power is not in his physical power; it's in his army.
I guess. But the other Majorot don't really give a damn about that.
Majorot don't care for armies; they just kind of wave their hands and they are irrelevant.
Yeah.
Then again, Khazard's army is being preoccupied by a gnome village.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, everything about Khazard fails. Let's just put it
because he can.
I'm actually surprised. Well, I mean, I guess he doesn't fit in tier 7 because he's not actually weakened. But man, he's right on that border.
What's actually interesting about Khazard being in such like a low tier and all that, it might actually explain why he had to be pulled along with like the other Zamorakian people for the heist. I mean, besides Haziel, like who's really like up in the air for like so many different people, the rest of the Zamorakian Majorot are
I can't remember
tier 5 and above and all that. So they hold a lot more power in general, which is why maybe like Khazard had to be pulled because he wasn't really like in the kind of top tier threat that the rest of them were in.
Because Zimzam's like, who the fuck are you?
Well, you know, theoretically.
For the most part, like, you can see how the Majorot have thinned in number over the years. Like, their ideology has somewhat worked. Like, the bottom half of their people are all dead because they were weak. But then the top half of their people are either ascended or killed because they tried to ascend.
Yeah.
Or like Palkira, which is really oddly placed.
Yeah, Walter mentioned just that in chat just a second ago. Palkir is the most surprising for him. And it does seem like, he also mentions that it does seem like the Zerosians seem to have more loyalty than the Zamorakians do, which I will absolutely agree with. I think part of that just comes with the ideologies of Zamorak versus Zeros, though. Because Zamorak is...
And then there's the fact that there are so few Zeros and Majorot left that they, if they fought amongst each other, then the Zamoraks would just crush them all anyways.
Yeah, they had to work together to survive as well.
On a side note, I'm fairly sure that the reason that Palkira is dead is because Anakra used some sway to make sure that she would be the last female Majorot, so she had to, keep alive.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm wondering, what the politics were that led to Palkira being sacrificed, or if Palkira was just batshit insane.
Or if she died, not involved in a ritual like Walter
says. See, we don't know that she died in a ritual.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
So for all we know, Anakra could have just backstabbed her.
Oh, Walter says, he thinks she died when Khazard was born.
That's also possible.
I think that due to the lack of Ma, the birth of Khazard used her energy.
Yeah,
and killed her.
Something like that.
Oh my god, so Khazard was even a fail in his birth.
No wonder he's such a derp fail.
Anyways. Yeah, we don't know, so there's a million different ways she could have died.
Yeah.
Well, actually, theoretically, if he had to take his mother's power rather than Ma's power when he was born, he would be weaker because
he would be significantly
Palkira isn't Ma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, remember that the recreation took energy from Ma and calmed her down. And that was all the construct of Saren.
Alternatively, he could have, had the exact same power level that, Palkira had, just lost it over the years.
Probably not. I think he just started with lower. I think that has to be what happened.
He started out stunted.
Yeah. Because of the lack of Ma. I never thought about it that way, but that makes all the sense in the world.
He's still a fail, regardless.
He's still a derp fail. We'll just leave it at that. Anyways, we're gonna move on from the Majorot into 2015. Briefly mention the 2015 manifesto.
It has become a bestseller.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll go with that. They want more, for skills, they want more reasons, they want to offer more reasons and I guess methods to train between 60 and 80. Especially for farming, because they didn't just do that a year ago or anything. No. Also, they want you to build new rooms in the player-owned house, for construction. It's a shame they can't do more overworld stuff with construction, but it doesn't seem to be in the budget.
No.
They also mentioned combat stuff. There'll be several boss monsters that will work in tandem with the world event, which is
such as
by the brutality of Tuska. Yeah. Strengths and weaknesses will be influenced by the event and will be appropriate for a range of player levels. They also mention bosses they'll apparently make Araxor and Virago look like level 3 chickens. And so while Panic sell wands, these are probably the raid bosses that they were talking about. So that means the poor RuneScape community will have to group up.
Oh god, I can't imagine anything I would rather do less than group up with the RuneScape community. Actually, I play League.
No fun, no happiness, no teamwork.
PJ
raid
Salt.
boss.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if they do the raid bosses correctly, I'm very interested in them, but if they don't, they're gonna die.
Yeah.
I play League, and I would rather group up with that community than the RS community.
That is impressive.
You say that, but you're lying.
You say that, but you are actually lying.
I'm actually not.
Then you are lying to yourself.
At least League players know how to do teamwork, because we have to do it in every game mode.
You what?
Yeah, I will say
about that.
Yeah.
About that.
Go, kid.
I will say, please, for the love of God, no more solo bosses unless they're dropping 99 weapons and there is a catch, because, oh my god.
Yeah.
Even though Araxor is very killable, it's still annoying, and a lot of people... Back to the rant last year, oh god.
Yep.
It's
back, guys.
Yeah. Well, just of like, people don't have time to learn the mechanics. They just physically don't have the time to learn the mechanics.
And it's less that they don't have time, and more that there's no margin of error. Like, you can't, if you mess up, then you have to start over, so how do you ever get good at the later phases without spending ungodly amounts of time getting through the beginning phases? And it's a problem with all bosses, but especially solo ones, because there is actually no margin of error.
Yeah.
Yep.
Post-Araxor stress disorder, oh god.
Walter apparently says that it thinks it's fair if you can't leech-ish if you should be able to get help through the Maw, really. Yeah. Through Maw. We'll get the help through Maw.
Yeah. Have Maw just go in and snipe them.
Just go to Frenesque. Just summon them to Frenesque and say, "Hey Ma, I have food for you."
You know what? I'd actually prefer just leading Araxor out of the cave all the way across Gilnor to the World Gate, shoving him through the portal, and just saying, "Have fun, bye."
We need Elder God help to kill spiders.
Bring
Saradome in there and tell him it's his Christmas present.
Anyways,
my suggestion is to lure Araxor out and bring him into Port Phasmatis and give all of the ghost swords, because you can't kill what's already dead.
Got him.
Ooh.
Anyways,
Checkmate.
Also, the 200th quest is called Dimension of Disaster, which is actually like the most awesome name ever.
Mm-hmm. But they didn't give us the Zami heist title like they said they were going to.
Heist.
That'd be like
Zim.
Also, there's apparently more ninja stuff, like fewer clicks to loot items and a worthwhile use for shops, which currently have absolutely no use. But yeah, that's what they teased us about 2015. Also, power to the players stuff, because RuneLabs is a thing. But yeah, we'll get that more later. In the January BTS, we have boss pets, because who doesn't like pets? Also, Megaduck will be a pet. Now we just need a car to put the Megaduck on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. Yes.
Hold on, writing.
Well, I will continue then. We left off with Megaduck has a pet, all glory to the Megaduck. And now we're going into the elemental and rare drop table rework. A bunch of the old, weirder drops will be removed and replaced with more useful items like bones, bars, uncut gems, and potions.
Skilling can't be valuable.
While it's snarky there, to be fair, pretty much everything that's going to be reworked in this is generally low level.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yay, jelly!
Yeah, it says the creatures affected by this are like jellies, dust devils, water fiends.
Yeah, I think Water Fiends and Dust Devils are like the two good creatures.
Yeah, the two highest.
If they screw up or nerf the Water Fiend charm drop rate, people are going to revolt.
Can Excel Dragon chain bodies?
Well, I guess they can go learn how to Glacore because, I think that's still the best in the game for charms, but it just takes a half ounce of effort.
Mm-hmm.
It also gets money.
That means too much effort. Half ounce is too much.
That is true. This is the RuneScape community we're talking about. Also, they're copy-pasting Hattie and Skull from last year. Literally copy-pasting.
As far as...
Come on, guys.
And I mean, I like Hattie and Skull as much as the next person. It's free bonus XP, sweet. And they're kind of fun.
EXP?
Yeah, free bonus XP. But, this is the first year that they've returned it and not added something new to it, as far as we know. Which is a bit of a shame, because what was fun about it is every year, there'd be a little additional piece to it.
Honestly, I've had enough of these damn
I have too. It's just, at a certain point.
Had enough.
Yeah, well. Yep, that's a thing. But yeah, like, it's just, I have also had enough of the stupid wolves, because it's just like, why do the same thing 3 years in a row? Like, take a year or two off. Bring it back when there's like seriously something to add. Make it, instead of a yearly event, every few years. And
on top of that, the Valkyries need to put GPSs on their helms and spears, apparently, because we cannot keep
losing them. Also, but yeah, so Hattie and Skull.
It'd be nice to have like something else, and maybe return to Hattie Skull in 3 years, maybe, and like rotate events or something.
I'd be fine with rotating events, especially because then it doesn't put so much pressure on you to have like the new things can be almost less new because it hasn't been there every year. I don't know.
Like, instead, if you wanted to do something with Fremennik, you could have like Dagannoth Invasion or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
that's like more or less.
Yeah, moving on to the important update of the month, ports.
Yes.
So we have ports 3 with a vengeance.
Can I do this?
Yeah, go Lime.
Alright, so this one's called a Ports Update, Guardians of the World. So we are of course going to have Blue Suede in the background. Awesome Mix, Volume Ports 3. So
Ports 3.
This one requires, it requires 90 agility, dungeoneering, and divination. And that's for 3 new adventurers. For agility, you have a member of the Tengu, Gu being the sage priests that you find out about when you look over the Tengu archipelago. You have a rogue Gorajo, so it's like a Ramaki something or other, who's weighed down by guilt for the 90 dungeoneering. And you have a girl made entirely out of divination energy for divination. And
basically a Caroline.
That excites me so much, to be honest.
Yeah, like all these characters are super cool. Mm-hmm. It's like, and I'm personally really excited for the Gorajo and divination. And well,
so basically you're excited for all 3 of them, Lime.
This is ports.
This is ports.
Is ports. I'm excited for the whole thing. Yeah. Walter hates fun, so he's not excited for it. He calls it a glorified RNG generator or something.
God damn it, Walter.
And then he claims he could write it in a day, so those are fighting words.
Walter, please. Anyway.
Thinly veiled rage.
Thinly veiled rage.
So before we, they will all have unique voyages, and they will link to the strange sea monsters that swim the Eastern Sea. Like, for example, a Thalassus, who no longer swims the Eastern Sea. But all those ones that got stirred up when Quinn tried to take power.
Yep.
Additionally, there will be new... Oh, wait. What?
Go. Speak.
You go.
No.
Alright,
go. You finish. I'll supplement.
Additionally, there will be new voyages that give cryptic pointers to hidden islands. So you're like, finding the island. And once found, these can be regularly visited for stat boosts, captain trait removal, and a chance to find Tengu cosmetic gear. And I'm fairly sure that when they say regularly visited, they mean sending a ship there. So don't get your hopes up going to the Eastern Lands.
Damn it.
Yeah, I know.
Anyways,
there will be more upgrades for the board itself, which will change the success chance of the voyages. So it's going to be bigger than the previous port's expansion.
Which was kind of lacking, but yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of lacking, but this one's not going to be lacking. You're going to have, hopefully new archipelagos, but, hopefully, as Raleigh stated, not ones that will require you to have 20 hours of voyage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Rowley lore.
Yeah, Rowley is really visitable.
Best part.
That's what I was going to bring up.
when he was on the podcast, he said something about there might be a little bit of God lore, but not that much. He wanted to take a break from that, so that's cool.
Might be with the divination lady.
Except for the fact that there may be Zerosianism in the Eastern Lands, which is not cool. Say no to Zero. Say no to Zeros.
I'm just gonna edit that out.
Say no.
Anyways.
They've mentioned that we may still get some, lore more about the horn, like in-game confirmation that it was used as the Elder Megaphone rather than just our, outside confirmation.
The Elder Gods seem to have a lot of megaphones.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, why wouldn't they have all the megaphones?
Was there like a recess on all of the mouthpieces that had just like, where you could just like insert the Elder Horn or something like that?
It's just a big, huge circus. They need the megaphone.
Balthazar Beauregard, confirmed for Elder Godhood.
It's okay, the measure is the thing that you hold the megaphone with.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's its actual use.
Yeah.
Anyways.
The Elder God artifacts are all just a giant Rube Goldberg machine.
Yes. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if that's true. If that is actually the case.
Just shove the measure in the ground, stick the megaphone on it. Everything else is just relative, and you can stick that wherever you want. Then it just does some magical stuff, and then suddenly there's Elder Gods.
And the Stone of Jas is the ball in the Rube Goldberg machine that makes stuff happen.
It like rolls through the Elder Horn and like flies across the world.
It's the ball that Jas balances on her nose like a seal.
It's like Mousetrap. Extreme Mousetrap.
Oh my god.
Yep, the Elder Gods playing Mousetrap.
The Elder Hot Tub. That's what the kiln really is.
Basically.
The giant Elder bathtub that the Stone of Jas rolls down.
Oh jeez. Now, is there an Elder rubber ducky?
No, but there is an Elder mini fridge.
Fair enough.
Which is really all you need.
We really need an Elder rubber ducky.
The Elder Gods have prepped very well for college.
Anyways, of course, this is the RS community, and even though lore is awesome, they're just in it for the rewards.
Yeah,
so, there will be new equipment, including level 85 dual-wielding weapons. A katana and a wakizashi for melee, and a sea-singer wand and orb for magic. And this is less than standard. I personally like dual-wielding. I know that Gordon hates them, but...
I'm fine with it as long as it's not a stupid wand, because...
Well, I guess you'll just have to deal with it.
I will in fact deal with it by using ranged.
I'm just sad that they don't have like shields. Like
the one thing that disappoints me about this, to be honest, is with ranged, it's a replenishable thing that you have to remake constantly. The Death Lotus darts.
Yeah.
So why are they just making basic melee weapons and magic weapons without any sort of special?
Get off Legacy and use your damn abilities.
How do you...
Well, I do.
Wait, hang on, Fang. How would you reload a sword?
Well, that's my point.
It degrades, and then you recharge it, though.
But with Death Lotus darts, you make them, so they're like a consumable type.
Yeah, you're recharging Death Lotus darts with ports materials. You're not recharging... I just thought it would have been
so much more interesting if they'd done something special with these melee and magic weapons. to have them also be a consumable rather than just, recharge it when it's done. It's a sword.
I guess to be fair, we don't know if they have made it such that it requires ports materials to recharge them. We don't know if they probably don't, but they still could.
Yeah. If they don't, they screwed up, in my opinion, because you can't recharge your Death Lotus starts with money.
Anyways, there will also be brand new scrimshaws focused around fishing.
Yay.
Fishing. I
guess
that's if you like fishing and stuff.
I need to fish. I'll be doing that while grading papers this spring. So yeah.
It summons Hubbub
It'll be useful.
Yeah.
So, the reason I'm really excited about this ports expansion is because of the lore. I like the feel of ports, going and expand, having others expand and go out into the world. It feels like the age of exploration, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Not to mention lime bots.
Yeah, and then the bots.
Which are actually all terrible, but Lime can still use them.
They're all great.
But I'm really excited for the story, and I like the way they've designed this one, just from what we've heard from Rowley.
Yeah, Rowley always makes good stories.
Yeah, Rowley asks us on the past Seercast whether we'd like what he was doing or something, and it's well, obviously we would. How could we say no?
We're not lore snobs or anything.
No, we're not.
No. Well, maybe some of us, but mostly no.
There are a few lore snobs out there, but they have to suck it up. So
they will suck it up.
This is gonna be good. This is gonna be good lore. Even though there's Zeros in it, I'm interested in seeing how Zeros...
See, if there is Zeros in the lore and Lime is content, you're doing something right.
I'm interested in seeing how the Zerosian Empire crumbled, so...
Anymore, it displays its peak. Anyways, Jagex is so good at it that it rarely matters. When they fail, we go crazy too. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so, did we mention the Hidden Islands? I don't think so.
Yes.
We did?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
I'm wondering if, I kind of want to say this, but I'm kind of scared that, it might be added. What if there's, if you go to a certain area and your ship sinks? The ship's gone.
Good.
That would be terrifying.
Good riddance. Where's a grumpy cat good right now when we need it?
This is Age of Exploration, and people lose ships all the time, and everyone on it, and all the treasure that was going to be on it. So, is this going to happen at some point? Do we sail into...
I hope not.
Yeah, I can understand, losing an entire crew. I could possibly see that happening, everyone except the captain or something. But if we lost an entire ship, that would be a nightmare.
Well, how would it be different?
Really
Honestly, how would it be different than losing your crew? Because the ship is just... You'd pay for a new ship.
Yeah, you'd have to use resources to get it back. Because that's how you got the ships in the first place.
Yeah, I just feel like that would be a useless hassle, because you
didn't spend resources to get the ship, you spent resources to get the extra ship slot. The ship itself was free.
Just appears.
So
what would be the point of that then?
Yeah, there wouldn't be a point. It would just be losing all your crew, which would be the nightmare part about it. Because that's a lot of time and a lot of effort you went to find those crew members and then train them.
Was there one of us in this podcast?
Huh?
This stuff would happen in real life. Spain lost.
RuneScape is not real life, damn it.
So if this is a glorified random number generator, losing stuff like that is just...
Yeah, it seems, because of how long these voyages take and how long it takes to level these things up, I think they've got the crew dying at a good rate right now, which is effectively zero unless you're an idiot.
And I would say that if your ship ended up, losing, and then you would, lose the crew, you would have to cost, and, repair and all that, it would add realism, but it would also be, desensitize people from doing ports, because now they have to like do all this extra like stuff that doesn't really need to be there, other than realism.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's interesting to think about, but I don't think it's, I don't know. I don't think it's necessary. Yeah. But yeah, so,
well, it would boost a lot of value to the tradable versions of Tetsu and Death Lotus.
Yeah. But, so is there anything else we need to mention about ports, that we should mention about ports?
Ports is awesome.
Ports are cool. Ports are awesome.
Other than the ports are awesome and ports.
Ports because ports are
sail even harder.
Well, besides that, this is me, and I'm amazing.
Take me back to ports again.
Stop. Okay, anyways. Yeah, ports, I still think ports 3 sail even harder is the best hashtag
name.
For it. Better than ports
Guardians
3 with a vengeance. But,
yeah.
Well, there's a new buildings, right? Do we know anything about that?
We mentioned that.
Yeah. I saw some Azure tapestries. Hang on, let me see if, Walter...
Basically, these buildings are supposed to do something with your ships, too.
Well, like, that's what they do with, what is it, the shipmasters, or the shipwrights.
Yeah. But I mean, I think they're all supposed to start affecting your ship in some interesting way. Which is cool. But, before we move on...
The bar would always have, like, the captains, and then you'd have the crew's quarters be, like, the crew affected, and all of that. So I guess in a way it was already happening, but now it's going to be happening even more.
Derp.
So, yeah.
So what?
That's another point.
Another thing before we finish with this is that title, Guardians of the World. That's interesting.
World Guardian?
Considering the 3, yeah. Well, considering the 3 new adventurers.
Agility, dungeoneering, and divination. Well, divination, yes. Dungeoneering, sort of. Agility, what?
Like,
exactly.
We don't even know what the Tengu do. We just know them as, like, sages.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes me very interesting with that title and these 3 adventurers, where we might be going with this story.
Let me pull up the BTS itself.
And then there's the question of what is a Goraho doing so far away from Daemonheim?
To be fair, I mean, there's one in Mauritania.
Yeah, but
this one's all the way out to Shanko. This is like the farthest ever.
Well, I'm pretty sure that Prif is farther away.
Well, that dungeon is actually in Daemonheim.
Oh, I guess that's true. Whatever.
But for all you know, your crew is just going to Karamja and just telling you that they're going to all these exotic places.
Yeah.
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that too. Penguins, please.
As long as they bring me stuff back, nobody cares.
Because penguins.
Yep.
Anyways, so that should cover what we wanted to mention about ports. We have one more thing that people are probably wondering why we haven't mentioned yet. And that is, there is a
poll.
There was a poll.
Mm-hmm.
And it has deeply
we
disappointed, I think, every one of us here. Is the Myrique versus Floor 61 poll. And
it's not really a poll. It's
perfect example of why power to
it's
the
a Myrique
has
circle
never
jerk.
been a thing.
It's a reason for lore noobs to hate each other.
It is a reason for lore noobs to hate each other. It's also a reason for, probably a reason for less quests, honestly. I mean, why on earth would you poll these two things against each other? And unless you expect them to lose against other updates and other polls, in which case, then
why
this
not
would
just do them?
Yeah, then why? Jagex clearly wants to do both of these. They have stated this again and again and again and again. At a certain point, just do them. Do both of them.
What's nice about this, but also scary about this, is this poll is exactly the same as the Invention versus Prif, and that they said, which one do you want first? But
and
we
then later,
saw how that turned out.
And
Let's
later,
mention the quest finale poll between the gnomes, the dwarves, and the pirates.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's it?
Which, of course, we've got the dwarves, and we've heard nothing about the gnomes and the pirates since.
Yeah, well, we haven't heard anything about the gnomes for like 6 years, so.
Yeah.
Well,
now, I was gonna say,
to be fair, I like this poll in that it's a difficult choice. And most of the polls aren't a difficult choice. So actually asking us to think about these.
And
actually say, you know what, legitimately, which one do I want first? It's nice that they are taking the effort to make some of these polls harder in the, well, I actually have to think about this decision. But these two hurt a lot.
But it scares us, the lore community, and just those of us who are passionate about the story, because it makes us think well then how are we going to get when is the other one ever going to happen? Because we want them both, and we want them both sooner rather than later because of the gigantic implications that they both have on all sorts of things. I mean, I voted for the Myrique series, and it apparently won.
Yeah, it won.
Lime. Yeah. Lime, I saw that entire discussion. Lime and I got quite upset with Oz and Rowley on Twitter.
It was more Ballor getting upset, and I was like, hang on a moment here.
Multiple people in the Seercast refrained from voting, by the way.
I did side with you, it's just that I wasn't as vehement.
Okay, well, one thing I want to say is do not compare it to the city versus skill thing, because those are two entirely different things. Mostly because invention, I can understand how they're like, okay, we need to integrate this differently because we can't make an entire skill, and it would be so poorly balanced, and we already saw it oh god, if this happens, we're gonna be mad for a little while. Yeah. That's why I kind of say don't say that the other one isn't going to happen, because it already said in the poll late next year, which would be later this year. And we're gonna get one of the two, and I want to say that we're gonna get both. I highly doubt one would get scrapped, but one will be drastically later than the other.
I'm still I'm just worried because there's so few quests that are being created right now.
Yeah, it's still very annoying. It's just don't count your dead chickens.
Yeah. So I'm happy with the results either way, but it still bothers me because the precedent they've set is when they pull things against each other, the losing options never seem to happen.
Yeah. They go onto the
Geena
definitely list, and that's the last we'll hear of them.
Yeah. Go on.
I've found Mod Osborne's official statement, which happened in the discussion between him, Ballor, and I. And he said, well, it's not perfect. This poll gets people talking about story, and it is a choice we'd have to make as Jagex anyways. I see no issue with getting players to vote instead of us, as we like both. So it won't be forgotten if it loses. We want to make Vamps as well, though, and he said that he appreciates our passion. But, this is something that we figured he was going to say, because if he didn't say this, then it would have been a nightmare.
Sorry. Keep going.
I hope that it doesn't die. Floor 61 has been belayed too damn long.
Yeah, it has been.
Yeah. It really was. That was a story that they should have finished before the 6th age happened.
Yeah, it's not necessarily even timeline related. It was just there was so much momentum in the series because of the way that the Dungeoneering came out, and then you have the sagas fairly soon after, and then the second batch of sagas, and then
the momentum just dropped.
And then Battle of Lumbridge happens, spoils a lot of the end, and then they leave all the rest of the mysteries there for nobody to talk about.
Yep.
Oh, they do talk about it.
And then, of course, to make things even worse is because they told us the ending, everybody's like, oh, well, there's nothing left to discuss.
Hang on,
a lot to discuss.
Also, it's this kind of, one of the reasons I'm a little bit worried about this is because of the discussion that was brought up at one point about going to fewer updates in general. And while I'm generally a fan of fewer, larger updates, it is worrisome when major updates like this get pushed back, because if they do switch to fewer updates, it means it'll take even longer for these things to get in.
Yeah, and it's at a time where we need those bigger updates to just finally be put out, and if it's a situation where, okay, here's a bunch of updates, we're gonna disappear for a little while and just not say anything about it, or something happens, just at least finish all the storylines. That's why, I kinda got, most of the reason why I was mad about the poll was that it was really unclear as to, well, is one going to be first? Is it a question of when, or is it a question of if? And it never said. And so far, no one's given a straight answer. And it's just
the other thing. Oh, go ahead.
No. Sorry, you can talk. I was just reacting more.
One other major thing that bugs me about this is it's not finale versus finale.
Can I just give it one more thing? There's no clear timetable with these things ever.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to give a timetable for quests, to be fair.
That's true. I really appreciate that they didn't give a timetable with this quest, and that they just said later in the year, because it means that they're not rushing now to fill a September or August deadline. They now have time to take on the quest.
Rowley specified it would be around August.
Well, I
didn't
remember seeing that.
The poll says near the end of the year. So they very, very clearly said it will happen this year at some point. Rowley's wrapping up Ports 3 now, and he can basically get to work on the winter. And he has months and months of work. And that's fantastic, because it means we'll finally get a solid quest, that moves along a storyline, and it probably won't feel like it's rushed.
Yeah, it's a damn shame that Anna isn't officially the lead developer on this, though. I really feel for her, because she did such a damn good job on the Branches of Darkmire.
But of course, we can't ignore the fact that she's openly said she's basically writing the quest and Rowley's coding it and working it. So she's gonna have a huge hand in it no matter what.
Yeah, I know she will, but it's just, if she won't have her name tacked onto it it is deserved, honestly.
Because she basically, in my opinion, single-handedly revived that whole series.
My issue is that we don't really know what happens to the loser. It just kind of goes into limbo.
Yeah. That's what they
into
need to do
Pirate and Gnome Quest land.
It's it would be nice if we got an update whenever they said, hey, we talked about this in the office this time, would you guys like to hear some well, no, not hear some details. We talked about it, and this is what we decided, and it's gonna happen sometime. Even seeing that it keeps getting delayed would be better than just not knowing what happened to it.
In rite of passage land,
the big problem is that things never get repolled.
Yeah.
Well, they do, and when they do, they get stuck on polls instead of just happening. So what I really think Power to the Players needs to be more about is, which comes first, we're doing both of them. Not, which comes first, we're doing one, and then gonna throw another on a poll to die forever.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened with Rite of Passage, was it showed up on polls, people got hyped for it, they did a whole freaking podcast about it, and then it lost a poll, so they put it on another poll.
Well,
they didn't just do it, they stuck it on another poll.
They delayed it before polls were even a thing. They put it, and the podcast was just an initial, this is what we would like to do. It was a very super early stages. I think that, honestly, it was a mistake on their part for even doing a podcast on it at this point. They jumped the gun on that one. And I love the podcast, but it's it starts a hype train for something that isn't even rolling.
It did not
and then proceeded to lose the poll. That was the biggest problem.
Well, the problem was that the poll was 8 months later.
Yeah.
So the hype train had been derailed, and everybody had forgotten about it, and then it showed up on a poll, and, well, of course it's gonna lose a poll, when it's being polled against an Elder God series that had a quest released 3 weeks earlier. Of course it's gonna lose.
Yeah. I mean, just to make things even worse in my mind is the way, World Event 2's Aftermath was dealt with. Just bringing that up was...
Well, yeah.
They promised, we're gonna have follow-up for this, you're gonna hear from both sides. Jagex really needs to work, and they've done a little bit of a better job with this recently, but they need to work on their follow-up for everything. So, you put in a bunch of hype about Tuska, and now we're just now hitting 2015, and we're just now starting to get more Tuska stuff. And they put in hype, Armadil versus Bandos, here's a bunch of exciting things. And then, Bandos' quest comes after months and months, and Armadil's nothing. They hinted all of these story pieces in it, and we've still gotten nothing.
It actually kind of reminds me of, this might be a very oblique way of thinking about it, but the way that Blizzard deals with Hearthstone is a good way, I think, that Jagex could deal with the way that, some of these quests, like, Blizzard shocked us when they announced the expansion. They announced both expansions this last year, and within a month it was out. And they announced the expansion, and then they hype trained it for a full month, and boom, it was done. And I feel like it's harder to do it within RuneScape's situation because, well, it's been around for a hell of a lot longer than Hearthstone has, and the lore is already in game and all that stuff. But like, for some of these quests, I understand that it takes a long time to make, but
this is stuff that needs to be like in pre-preparation.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Like,
badly.
When we're talking World Event 2, they told a story with it, and then just forgot to follow up on it, basically, is what it felt like for a while there.
In terms of lore, Bandos won the World Event, because Bandos is the one that ended up with a quest, and Armadillo didn't.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to in order to follow up with his story.
Yeah, and also, just speaking of follow-ups, that's partially why I'm terrified of Rune Labs at this point. Like, it sounds like a great idea on paper of, yes, players can vote on player-suggested ideas, but then it's just, well, thanks, you voted for this thing, everyone said they wanted it. Oh, sorry, we don't have time to develop it right now. And then it never happens.
It's going to turn into a billion ninja updates, is what that's going to turn into. That's what I'm worried about, is that you're going to have every other update as a patch notes week. And it's like, well, then when are we going to get actual content?
Yeah, and the problem is, like, I'm sorry, but I'm always going to hold the Calgarian thing against them just because it's like, have a team that's specialized in doing quick updates in pumping out close to actual content. I mean, there's a lot of things about Calgarians that are still broken right now, which have not been addressed. Some of them I don't want to address because it makes things a little bit easier. Honestly. But
don't tell them.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell them what's actually broken, but it's grossly obvious when you see it. But it's
having a team that's all about quick fixes, and they don't do the quick fixes that are needed
for an update that they were responsible for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, if someone wants, like,
needs to change.
Yeah, like if someone comes back and says, like, how about we actually do the Church of You? Like, the players want that, the players want to do whatever, like, make it like an upgrade, like, change Miscellanea to whatever, I don't know. Like, then players vote on it, and then they're like, yeah, sure, cool idea. We'll develop it whenever. But it's
just...
It gets crazy.
Like,
the only way I can really, like, properly vocalize it is just, they need to have a plan for what they're doing with each piece of their story before they start on the first bit of it. It takes some foresight, and I worry that they don't always, they're so excited to start working on it that they don't, deal with the rest of it. And World Event 2 was really the big thing that, screamed that for me, because it was just, alright, we're gonna release blah blah blah, gonna have the World Event out, it's gonna be amazing, it's gonna be huge, but then there's not gonna be follow-up for months, and the second half won't get any follow-up at all.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, I think we've ranted enough about this. It's something that we all care about, and that's what this podcast is about. It's like, it's about the lore, it's about the quests, it's about the updates, and they all get thrown, there's a giant wrench that gets thrown into all of them when you start pulling major updates like this, and it frustrates us because we're worried about what to expect instead of being excited for what's coming up.
Yeah. That's an excellent way to put it.
I can't get behind the Mayak hype because what now happens to Floor 61?
Yeah. It's hard, but
on the other hand, I'm actually very excited for Myarchy. I mean, I know I seemed very unenthusiastic about it when I was arguing with people and blah blah blah, but it's simply because I'm so passionate about Floor 61 and Daemonheim. I wanted to see that finale because, like I briefly mentioned, this isn't finale against finale, it's penultimate quest against finale.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's nobody...
We don't get our closure on Daemonheim, and we don't get closure on Myarchy either.
Go live.
I'm very confident in saying that there's nobody in this chat who's sad that MyRQ won, but everyone in this chat is disappointed that Floor 61 lost.
And it'd be the opposite would be true as well. Like if Floor 61 had won, we'd all be happy for Floor 61. I think several of us to a significantly lesser extent, but on the other hand, we'd all be sad that the MyRQ lost.
Something gets tossed into development limbo. Like, I'd be happy to, I think we should wrap up now. Like, that's good notes.
It's just like, it's hard, like, as much as we like the idea of power to the players, it gets a little bit difficult when it's just, well, there's no information, and we want to know what's going on so badly that when so little information is released about something, then we go a little bit insane.
It's more of when so much is left up to the players that they can't really announce anything without worrying that a poll's gonna change it in the future, or that, a poll result will just ruin what they want to do. That's why I'm a little worried. But,
honestly,
I'm interested to see what Rune Labs will do.
Honestly, and in conclusion, I think we can all agree, that this is me, and I'm amazing.
That is true.
Alright.
But
on that note, we gotta end.
Yeah, we do. But so I think we'll probably talk. We'll surely be talking more about this in the future. We might do something specifically on this somewhat soon. Not sure. We'll see.
I imagine post ports we can probably do something like once the results are, we're certain about the results and we've had some time to gather our thoughts about where the poll's going. We can probably do a podcast what happened with ports.
And once all of Jagex comes back to the office off of the winter holiday, and we start getting tweets and stuff once again, because Stu has been gone for the last 2.5 weeks or something. So
So I've been trying desperately to get in contact with Maz and Matty about the Quest Cup prizes that they still haven't sent us. Cough, rip.
But anyways, so that covers what we wanted to talk about today. It was a little bit longer than I thought it was going to be. Actually, a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. But I guess that's what we do here, is we talk too much.
Yeah. Also, I just got 82 agility.
Congrats. And also you're late.
Get good.
But anyways, so thanks for watching. We'll be back probably I guess almost certainly for a ports edition of this, so that'll be a couple weeks.
If the lore is extensive.
Yeah, hopefully a ports edition, possibly something else relating to the polls or something. We'll see. Worst case, we'll be back for the February BTS. But that pretty much covers everything, and we hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you guys next time. See ya.
Bye. Bye.